All right, and we are live. So, and I know everyone's not going to see this yet. It takes a couple of seconds for them to catch up. But hi, Johnny. Hi, Courtney is Erie Covenant. How are you guys today? Let me actually pull up my other channel because I'm actually on StreamYard, not on YouTube.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, I can see there's a little bit of a delay.
Yes. Oh, that's another thing I was going to ask you. And let me pull this up really quick and then mute it. There we go. All right. And let me get off of this really quick. All right. So do you have your computer up so that you can actually see the comments from okay, perfect. And then just mute the video itself. You know what I mean? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
We're good to go.
Hi, Jessica. She was just texting me, telling me she was going to be here. I'm like, I got to go because I got to take it off of there. So how is everyone doing today? How is everyone doing this evening, actually? Well, I guess that could be different depending on where you're at. But yeah, I'm in Michigan, so it's like 6 p.m. here. So
yeah, it's 5 p.m. here.
Oh, okay. All right. So guys, we are here with Dawn of Aurora Dawn. I do have all of her links and everything down below. And do you have a group also on Facebook?
Yes, it's Shadow Magic Witches on Facebook.
Okay, because I have the page. I have the page down there, but they should be able to follow that right over to your group.
Correct.
Okay. Yes. All right. Perfect. Hi, Jen. Hey, Jen everybody. Is Science to Soul. Yeah.
Science to Soul. Okay.
Yeah, Science to Soul Tarot with Jen. So, all right. Well, we'll just get started. And whoever hasn't come in, they'll be able to watch a little bit of the beginning. Because these tend to go on forever.
I know.
Especially if it's a good conversation, right?
Right. Definitely.
So why your channel name? Why Aurora Dawn?
Okay, Aurora is comes from Aurora Borealis. And really, to me, what that means is the energy from the sun comes towards the earth and hits our atmosphere and creates these beautiful colors. And to me, it's just a beautiful relationship between the sun and the earth. And dawn because of the morning. So that dawn means beginning. So new birth and this interaction between the sun and the earth. So I just liked all of that. And so some people think, well, it's named after Aurora, the goddess, and it's not. It's Aurora Borealis. So that's what I went with. I love the way it sounds.
That's beautiful. I love the story behind it. That's beautiful. And it's not what most people think then, right? So I love that too. I love that too. So how would you label your spiritual path?
Evolving. I would have to say, because a lot of people, well, let me just say, the ego really likes to put labels on things, and that is a good thing, because otherwise we would struggle here on the earth plane. So it's important to put labels on things. I once was asked, well, what is your tradition? What kind of tradition do you follow? And I said, well, I don't really follow a tradition. And she came back with, oh, you're eclectic. And I was like, okay. She really wanted to put a label on it, and she couldn't handle that it was nothing. And the ego cannot handle nothing. It doesn't understand nothing. And so to help us, it has to put a label on it. So I would say I lean towards traditional European folk magic, Celtic, Nordic, kind of gypsy, thrown in there for good measure.
Right on. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I understand the necessity for labels, but I think that they are very limiting. So the best way to find out what somebody truly, what they follow, is to actually sit down and talk to them, right? have
Right.
a conversation and learn about them rather than just like at a passing party. So what do you do? Yada, 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 you know. But so were you raised in your path or did you veer off from your family?
Well, I was raised the first half of my childhood with yoga, and my mother and I were in Los Angeles, California, and I was 6 years old, and she wanted to get into something spiritual. So the first step was Krishna temple. So that was, yeah, that was wow. And I was just 6 years old, and I'm looking up at all these people dressed in orange and yellow and jumping up and down and the beating on the drums and stuff like that. It was just a little bit much. So we didn't go back there. But next step was self-realization fellowship. And then next was Integral Yoga Institute. So self-realization fellowship was Paramahansa Yogananda, and he brought yoga. Who's one of the first ones to bring yoga to the United States, and it was a beautiful thing. It was about loving yourself and taking care of yourself and loving others. And there is a problem that I see with yoga is that you want to destroy your ego. And I think that's a problem with translation, because it's more of an exercise of using your ego when you need it, but being in control of it so it is not controlling you. Um,
Right.
and so that's, I think, is misinterpreted with when people get into yoga. Another thing is they taught us, and it was like Sunday school. I mean, all of us kids were in a room, and they were teaching us about the ego and about not not looking to develop our psychic abilities. And so
Mhm.
later, as older, I kind of wondered, why did they do that? Because Paramahansa Yogananda actually has a type of yoga, Kriya Yoga, that will put you on a path of controlling the ego to a certain degree where you can then develop your psychic abilities without the ego harming or interfering and destroying what you're trying to develop. So yoga masters have this tremendous ability to use their psychic powers to do things like bilocate or even trilocate in some cases. And some of them can, levitate. Some of them can make their bodies completely shut down. So it looks like they're dead. They're not breathing. They're cold. And Paramahansa Yogananda said that that's what happened with his yoga master. He did this, and everybody was freaking out. All their disciples were freaking out. The person's dead. We love our guru, and he's dead. What do we do? And he pops back up and says, "What are you guys doing? I just left my body for a little while. Calm down. So everything's okay."
Wow.
But they can do things like that. They can put a thought in somebody else's mind. And the reason why they're so good at it is because they've spent 20, 30 years practicing controlling the ego so that the ego doesn't get in the way. And the reason why you don't see this on the evening news or in Las Vegas shows or whatever is because they don't want to showcase it, because
Mhm.
it's in there and starts messing with what you're trying to create as a human being, reaching out to other human beings, because you're a yoga master. And so you have to, show what is possible to your disciples, but without allowing the ego to get in there and take control. So
Wow.
that was the first half of my childhood. Now, the second half, my mother went into a depression and was considered, I guess, diagnosed clinically depressed. So I went to live with foster parents who were evangelical, fundamental Christians. So that was fun. but I
Major
was,
difference.
but I
Wow.
curious. I was a very spiritual kid. So, I wanted to see what this is all about. And it was very, very difficult. But it made me stronger. I'll say that. It really made me stronger. So my parents, my mother is very supportive of it. She spent a period of time in Wicca. So she's very supportive of it. My dad he's passed on, but he was very supportive, and his wife very supportive as well. So they're not interested in casting a circle with me or anything, but they're okay.
Okay, I gotcha. I wanted to say hi really quick to Brienne. Hi, honey. And the Witch of the Whitetail Hollow, which is Glennis. Hi, sweetie. Hi, Sonia. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anybody. All right. I think we got everyone. Wow, that's amazing. Your journey thus far has been incredible. I can't even imagine having that as an influence from the time I was really, really little. Wow.
Yeah, and they need to teach it in school. And children need to learn how to meditate and practice yoga. Definitely. It makes a huge.
Yeah, definitely. So, well, that kind of answered now then the next question, which would have been, do you feel like you're being supported by your family now? And you said that your mother does support you.
Yes.
And what about your dad and them?
Yeah, they do. My dad passed on, and my cousin is now with my dad's wife. It's not a romantic relationship, but he helps her around the house because she can't do all. They've got a big yard, so he's there to help her with the house and the yard. And he's very religious and very deep into conspiracy theories. And so when he found out I was a witch, he was like, so he's looking out of the corner of his eye, like, what's that all about? It's really not a big deal. But I didn't go into details with him. I don't know. I'm just a little nervous about it because he's so religious.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I want to get into it with them.
Do you feel a stronger connection to any certain elements or an element?
Yes, definitely air. I'm Libra, so I'm an air sign, and I'm in my head a lot. So it's I'm very much a science nerd. I love to find scientific answers to magic to support it, and I think it's just really cool when that happens. I'll show you. I found a book by Lynn McTaggart.
Over just a little bit. There we go. Intention.
Okay. Oops. And she worked with a bunch of scientists, and they are what's that place? I can't remember now. It's an organization where scientists come together to study things like intention, sending intention or prayer. And she wrote this book on what they found, and it was just amazing. They took healers and say seeds that they planted, and they had seeds where the healers or people were sending intentions to, and seeds in another room separate that nobody was paying any attention to. And the seeds that they were getting intentions sent to them were growing like crazy versus the other ones, and they had the same kind of atmospheres, just nobody was paying attention to them. And something interesting she found out was with healers, and even with Reiki healers, that all the healers, if they were not well, if they did not have energy for their body, just feeling run down or tired, that their healing ability was reduced. So even the Reiki healer. So when I was taught Reiki, my teacher said that Reiki is something that works regardless of whether you're involved or not. It's its own system. All it needs is somebody willing to channel it. And so what these scientists found out was something a little bit different, that you need to be present. You need to be fully energized. Your life force energy needs to be there too.
That makes perfect sense to me, to be honest with you. It does.
Yeah, and
Even if you are pulling more energy, you still have to be that conduit, right?
you have to be healthy.
Right. I mean, yeah, it makes
I mean,
perfect
you don't
sense to me.
perfectly healthy, you know. Yeah, okay, I've got this you know, bum knee. I can't give you a healing session. I don't think that's true. But
Right.
you know, but I believe that you really have to do your part to get cleansed, and just like you do with spell works and working and you know, ritual, you cleanse, you purify, you know, make yourself presentable to the gods if you're working with the gods, whatever spirits, or you know, even just for yourself to be clean and you know, presenting yourself in a proper way. I think
Yeah.
that's important.
I don't think I actually met one face to face knowingly. Interesting. I like your vibe. Ladies look beautiful today. Thank you so much, honey. Hi, Soul Moons Rising Tarot. Did I miss anybody else coming in? No. You know, that does make perfect sense to me, though. And even if it's just because of if you don't feel like you are at your best, then that is part of it, honestly. And if you feel like your healing ability is going to be stifled because of what you're going through, then it is going to be stifled. I think it comes down to the placebo effect for just about anything, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So I I've heard of people say that, you know, it doesn't matter what your energy is when you do this or that. And you know what, to each their own, but I do feel like it makes a difference. If
Mm-hmm.
you are in a good place when you're trying to do something, or if you're in a bad place when you're trying to do something. I think it makes a huge difference in the results of what you're trying to do. But anywho, that was just my own little thought on it. Um, do you have a favorite season of the year?
Spring, definitely spring. I've lived, well, Los Angeles, California, but also Texas, Arkansas, Mississippi, North
Mhm.
Carolina. So winter is very short there, and we were putting plants out in like April, and here I have to wait until June. So the winter's here long. So when I see
Mhm.
buds on the trees coming out, I get so excited. And the flowers are starting to come up, and the smells in the air, and I just get so excited. Winter's finally over. And then we have a little freeze, 28, 20, no, 26 degrees. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, come on. I need spring. So yeah, spring is definitely my time of year. But I do appreciate all of the seasons. I just wish winter wasn't so long.
I'm sorry. I don't, if you guys can hear that, I am sorry. Sully's up to no good again, and they're hollering at him upstairs, so I apologize. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
But yeah, I love April. I think it's, or I mean, spring. I think that's wonderful. Oh, my goodness. It's so hard when everybody's home.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my goodness. Do you use divination? If so, what types do you use?
Divination, yes. I want to show you something. This is very, very cool. So I know a lot of people, they kind of sort of use pendulum maybe, but the thing is pendulums tend to be kind of limiting because it's just, you know, yes, no, maybe, right? I found something. Actually, I'll show you this first. Let me get it right. There we go. This is Raymond Grace. And I heard an interview with him on Coast to Coast with George Norrie. And he's a dowsing person. He teaches it. And he mentioned Walt Woods. He said, definitely get this book. And so you can get this for free as a PDF file. I had a workshop that I was doing, so I bought a bunch of these hard copies. You can get the hard copy, but you can get the PDF file for free. And in it, it talks about programming the system. And what you do is you just follow the instructions, follow the program. I'm trying to find it. It's right there. So it's on page 4. So on page 4 is a basic program, and then you can build programs on top of that. And what that allows you to do is go beyond yes and no. Then what's really cool is this other program that's starts on page 16. And you kind of have to, it's a little confusing, but if you get through it, what it allows you to do is to measure the level of effects. And that's what I use a lot. So I write out my spell, and then I ask, what is the level of effects of this spell, of the way it's worded, in bringing me $5,000 or, you know, whatever I'm trying to do. And it'll give me a reading. And if it's not, you know, 90% or above, then I need to rewrite something. So I need to go back to it and rewrite it. So here's this is what you use to get your answers. It looks complicated. It looks kind of scary.
What is the name of that, honey?
This is
it Letter to Robin?
Yes, Letter to Robin.
Okay.
And it's a
mini
PDF.
course on pendulum dowsing.
Yes. And you use this chart in the back. And so where it says 10, 20, 30, those are percents. So what level of effects comes out in percents. And I do use it with my herbs to figure out which herbs are going to work best with me. What level of effects is basil for creating money or manifesting money in my life. And if it's not high enough, then I'll choose something else. And maybe it's bay leaves. And I went through a whole bunch of herbs. So I've already in my journal. So then all I have to do is go back in it and say, okay, money, I've got this one in the cupboard, this one in the cupboard, and I use at least 3. So I got 3 in the cupboard already. I'll just grab these. I already know they're attuned or aligned with me. And I just find that is just fascinating how I can get that kind of information out of it. And where I got that from also is for going through all of the herbs, because, you know, everybody says bay leaves are really good for money. So, but what about whether bay leaves work with me in creating money? And I got that from years ago. It was 2000, 2001. I think it was 2001. I got sick. I wasn't feeling well. I went to the doctor and I said, here are my symptoms. And she looked me over, eyes, ears, nose, whatever, you know. And she says, well, I can't find anything wrong. Luckily, I had a feeling that it was my liver. I went to my Reiki teacher and I said, I just told her I don't feel good. I just want a session with her. And she, at the end of it, she says, you know, I'm seeing something with your liver. Okay. So I went to a friend who took Reiki classes with me and I did an exchange. And she says, you know what? I'm seeing something with your liver. So I got to go to the doctor. So I went to the doctor. She said I was fine. So I talked her into ordering a blood test for my liver. And it came back. She says, the liver's fine. Okay, I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm done. There's something wrong with me. I've got all these symptoms and you're saying there's nothing wrong. So why is my hair falling out? Why does my tongue feel like there's little paper cuts all over it? Why is my digestion not working? Why am I falling asleep at work sitting in my chair? There's something wrong. And she looked in the eye and said, there's nothing wrong. So she could not find anything wrong. So I went to a naturopath. This guy had a machine that it used, well, everything in your body has, what is it, microcurrent? So it's like minus 1.2 million, something like that. I can't remember the numbers, but he used this machine to test all of my organs. And guess what he found? Liver was inflamed. So instead of being in that range for electrical conductivity, it was way out because it was inflamed. So then he went to a different part of the machine to decide which herbs would be best for my body. because we all know that, dandelion root and thistle, milk thistle are really good for the liver. But it came back and it said yellow dock would work best with my body. So it blew my mind, because, why not milk thistle? Well, it just, something about the energy, something about the electrical current thing with it just wasn't working, wouldn't work as well as the yellow dock. I thought that was just amazing. So that's why when I programmed my dowsing system, I decided to use it to go through all my herbs to see what would work best for me in my spell work. And programming my dowsing system made me think, okay, I want to read tarot, so I need to program that system, because if I don't, then it can't really communicate accurately. If I flip the card this way one time and then flip it end over end the next time, I'm not being consistent. So if I do a program, write it all down, see, this is the way it's going to be. I'm going to flip the cards like this. You communicate to me like this. I'm going to read reverse. This is what it means to me, and have it all mapped out, just like I did with the dowsing system. That it just makes total sense for me.
Yeah. Jen says, excuse me, it's so important to trust our instincts. Nobody knows our body better than we do, if only we listen to it. I could not agree more. I've said that so many times, going to the doctor, I've said to my husband, did you ask the doctor this? Did you tell him this? Did you tell, even when it seems so insignificant, did you tell him these little things? No, he didn't ask. I'm like, listen, if this is what you suspect, you need to tell them. They can only help you if you're telling them everything, and in some cases, they still can't help you. But yeah, you have to trust yourself, yeah.
So
and right there's proof of it.
Real quick on this booklet by Raymond Grace. He's got all kinds of things that he's done. Poltergeist, getting rid of poltergeist with the pendulum. Curses with the pendulum. Raising energy level and life force for healing, so you can measure your life force energy, because that fluctuates, depends on what's going on. Adjusting and scrambling frequencies. This is very, very interesting. So you've got a disease, it has a frequency. What if you scrambled that frequency so it stops attacking you, and then you can pull it out and neutralize it? And you can do that with a pendulum.
Isn't that amazing?
Way beyond yes and no. So adjusting frequencies for prosperity. You can, because you have a fear of lack or fear of loss, or poverty mentality, you want to change that program, which brings me to one of my courses is self-mastery for witches, and that is shadow work. It is it's the basics of shadow work, and you could take that, once you go through it, you can take that and build on it and keep going with it, or you can go to a shaman and work with a shaman. But if you have that course under your belt, it's going to help you understand why you behave the way you behave, and how to unplug those programs, how to surface them and heal them. Because the programs that are or the beliefs that are self-limiting, your self-limiting beliefs, the ones that you struggle with the most, and you can't change that habit, you can't break that habit, or you can't change the course of your life because it's just always working against you, most likely you're going to have a lot of emotional anchors to that. It's not going to let go unless you acknowledge it, surface it, acknowledge it, and bring truth to it. There's a story of a woman who went into this self-mastery course, and she was graduated valedictorian, I believe, from an Ivy League university, and she was incredibly intelligent. She has a very high IQ, but she couldn't get a job. She went to interview after interview after interview, and she got into the self-mastery, and she found out, she surfaced, and when she was 5 years old, She was sitting at the table having dinner with her sister, her older sister. And the rule was you had to finish your dinner before you can have a dessert. Her sister finished her dinner and got a dessert. She asked her mother, can I have a dessert? Well, no, you have to finish your dinner. Sounds harmless, right? There's no malice in that. We want to teach our children to eat properly before, filling up on sugary things. So she went to bed without a dessert. She never finished her dinner. And now as an adult, she realized that what she learned from that experience was that her sister was better than her. Her mother loved her sister better than her. So why would anybody she was interviewing with think that she was better than the next person? So she lost out on all of those interviews. Well, she did. And then went out the next interview, she got the job. And I see this with all my students. They come in with just all kinds of, hardship, trying to get ahead and trying to make changes. One student, she could never hold on to a romantic relationship for more than I think it was 2 months. That was the longest relationship she had ever had. And she kept losing jobs. She kept getting laid off. So she never got past, 2-3 years with a job, and we worked together. And in the middle of that, she had been laid off right when we started working. In the middle of it, she got a new job, and she's been there over 10 years now. And she's married. And she's been married, I don't know, I can't remember how long, but she's married now, and she's very happy, and they keep throwing money at her and promoting her and all that kind of stuff. So your belief systems really make a big difference.
And the things that happen to you when you're little make a huge difference. Yeah.
Definitely.
So we already know that you're a Libra. That's your sun sign, right? What do you know what your tarot birth cards are?
Death and the Emperor. And death, definitely, because I am all about change. We moved around a lot when I was a kid. And so I went to new schools. So I was always making new friends. And I'm an only child. So it was all about, what can I do now to make things entertaining while I was at home alone. Foster parents and all the changes that I've been through. I was married and going through a divorce and just always making changes. And I knew that relationship wasn't working. There was a lot of emotional stuff going on. There was some emotional abuse, and I had to get myself out of that. And I started making more and more changes. So yeah, death to me is definitely about changing. End that cycle, start a new one if you need to. So yeah. And then the Emperor, isn't that more of like organized kind of?
Yeah, I mean, the Emperor is the Aries, so the entrepreneur, the person that starts, someone that's very much an authoritarian, fair, but also somebody that likes structure and likes to be like the king or the emperor, that strong masculine energy. So yeah. So I take it you're a life path 4 then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Do you know what your significator card is in the tarot then, or the one that you resonate with?
I would have to say the one that I'm just starting to figure out tarot reading, so I'm not sure about the significator, but I would say that I resonate with the Empress. The Empress card. It feels like she's relaxed, but there's plenty there. There's nothing to worry about. And she's in control, not controlling everybody or everything, but in control. Everything's working out the way it's supposed to, and she puts things into place to make it work. And, yeah, that's how I see it anyway.
There's many different systems for figuring that out. With being a Libra, you could be the Queen of Swords, or you could be Justice, the Justice card. If you knew what your Myers-Briggs personality came back as, they also have an association for that. But honestly, I think it just comes down to what you feel connected to. So if that is the Empress, then that's what your significator card is, the Empress then.
For now, anyway, until I change.
Right. Right, exactly. Exactly. So do you have a favorite current deck right now?
I don't have many decks, and I haven't played with worked with the tarot very much. I first bought a Rider-Waite deck many years ago, and I was trying to understand what the card meanings were by looking it up in the book, and I'd go, but I don't think so. No, wait, what? So
Yeah.
I put it aside because it wasn't jiving. And then my aunt passed away, and I inherited her tarot decks, Rider-Waite. So I have 3 Rider-Waite decks, and so when I read them, I just intuitively interpret them because, say I'm reading you and I get the Empress, it's going to mean one thing, and I read it the same. The Empress comes up again with somebody else, I'm going to read it different because it's going to communicate differently to me. Now, you had done a video where you talked about the Thoth deck of cards, tarot cards.
I'm sorry, you broke up, sweetie. Can you say that again?
Thoth cards, the
Mm-hmm.
tarot card Thoth. And I had to wait until the shed door thawed before I can get to them. But I finally got to them, and I was playing with them, looking at them, and they're different. And so that's triggering a different reading for me.
Oh, yes.
And now I understand why tarot readers have so many different decks of cards, because they speak differently. So if you've got somebody, you may not want to use Rider-Waite. It may not be the correct deck to use for them. So I may be starting a collection now. And it's your fault.
Oh, it's my fault, is it? I'm one of those enablers also. We all are.
So I bought this deck a long time ago. I never really used it or worked with it. And let's see, I bought the book by Aleister Crowley. And it's
yeah.
He's out there. He's very deep, very mind oriented. So
very wordy, but I think he does that on purpose. And that I don't think he wants people to know all the secrets that he was not actually allowed to reveal.
Could be.
So I think that's why he was awful wordy. But yeah, I started with reading that and got about 75% of the way, and another book, Understanding the Thoth, from Lon Duquette, and that's so much better. So much better. Yes.
Okay.
Then I will go back and read the Thoth again after I read this one. But yeah. So, of the decks that you have, which one is your favorite? Is it the Thoth that you have now? Is that your favorite?
I don't know, because I just started looking at it because I just the shed door was just thawed out not too long ago.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. I want to look at it a little bit more. So I don't know if I have a favorite, but I do have an oracle card deck, and it's trying to see her name. It's Mindy Hope Summers. I don't know if you can read that. Can you read it? Okay.
A little bit.
Dreaming in color. She's a graphic artist. So she created these. This is the back. I think it's really
beautiful.
And then they're, just oracle cards.
Mm-hmm.
So I use these, and I was watching, I think her name is Jess from Bahati Life, and she's using different decks, different card decks. And so an oracle deck and a Rider-Waite deck and some other deck. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool, so I started doing that. And so I use this, and I have this other deck that a friend of mine gave me that has these little sayings on them. I don't know if you can read that. And then
I stay in the present. Yeah.
Beautiful pictures of flowers. So,
So like affirmation cards?
Kind of. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, wonderful. I love affirmation cards.
And I just used them together, and it just blew my mind that it worked. It all worked together. So I'm getting into this.
Awesome. So would you say, well, you're probably not a collector at this point.
No, not yet.
You have what, like 3, 4, or 5 decks, somewhere around there?
Yeah, Oracle, the affirmations, Thoth, and Rider-Waite.
Okay, that's a good start. Yeah, that's a good start. Do you have any daily rituals that you do?
Lately I've been doing a meditation healing session for Skip. That's my significant other, my sweetheart. He has some health issues, and one of them gets aggravated when he does work out in the yard. So as long as I do this meditation, he doesn't have that pain. We cut down a cherry tree, a dead cherry tree, big, huge trunk. We cut it down in 2 days, cut it up and moved it. And afterwards, he was fine. No pain at all. So as long as I do this meditation, he feels fine. He feels good. And I think there's still something there that he's going to have surgery on it. And he's working with a doctor. But, as long as I do this meditation, he seems to be fine. So,
isn't that amazing?
It is.
And awesome. How we are connected too, because I mean, when my husband has had a pain here or there, I can feel that pain. Or like the same analogy as the partner of somebody that's in labor having those labor pains, I wish they would have had the labor pains for me, but anyways.
And you know what? It's spellcasting. You can make your spells more effective if you tune in using compassion for that other person. Of course, this doesn't work quite as well when you're trying to curse somebody, because but if you get into the attitude, the energy of self I don't want to say self-righteous anger, but in a place where you're the mother and you're going to discipline that person who's messing with your life. You can do that. I feel that you have the right to protect your boundaries, and if somebody's not listening and you're telling them to stop, you're trying to be a grown-up, you're not using your childish ego defenses against them, you're actually trying to communicate as a mature adult, and they don't stop, then you pull out all the stops, but still stay out of the ego defenses. And the way you do that, you get it. What emotions are coming up? Because I'm sure there's a lot of anger, there's hurt, there's stuff going on that you have to process that energy first. Once you're clear of it, then you can have compassion for that person at the same time disciplining them so that they leave you the heck alone.
Makes sense. Absolutely. So do you remember your dreams, or do you do any dream work?
I do remember my dreams. Most of the time, it's just regurgitating what I've been working on, what I've been doing. Every once in a while, a lot of people say this, that they'll have a dream that impresses upon them. And those are the ones I really pay attention to. And I usually have to sit with it and kind of figure it out, pull it apart, and okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Where's that coming from? So that I can learn from it. And so, yeah, I think it's important. Something that I came across, and I don't have it here, but I learned this from Joshua P. Warren. He's a paranormal investigator. He's very sciencey. He likes to keep his feet grounded when he's investigating ghosts and UFOs and lights coming out of the valley and, you know, strange lights, you know, floating around, orbs and stuff. He talks about taking a wood wand and then wrapping aluminum foil around it and then cotton around that. And it creates an orgone kind of energy. And you put it up to your forehead, and I will feel a tingling kind of mushiness where it feels like something's going on there. And then it helps me to dream. So that's very interesting.
I was smiling because I just watched that video today that you did with the wands and how you do that and hold it up to the third eye, and how you said that it really, really, you have some wild dreams after that.
Yeah.
So you guys, I highly suggest going and checking out that video. It's on the wands. That was really cool. That's very cool. So that is like an organic system of orgone, like you would the orgone, like pyramids or whatever. Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. So do you have a favorite holiday or Sabbath?
I would say Samhain, and the reason being is it's a time for me to look over the year, all that's happened, and to prepare for winter. Because for me, winter's such it's hard. It's gotten better, and I'll tell you what made it better. I hated the cold, and I felt like I was cold all the time. Of course, I have Hashimoto's, so low thyroid, which makes me feel cold all the time. But I ran across somebody called Wim, W-I-M, Hoff, H-O-F-F. I think he's like Sweden or from Denmark. He does this breathing exercise, and he's broken all kinds of records. He has climbed Mount Everest in just shorts and shoes, not cold at all. They recorded him going under ice cold water. I mean, they broke the ice, broke a hole in the ice, and then put a rope through to measure the length to another hole in the ice. And he went under for 7 minutes. He was underwater, and they were watching him. They were filming him. They were writing it down. They were taking measurements of his heart rate and all that. And he came out, you know, just fine. 7 freaking minutes underwater.
What is up with this dude? It sounds like he can moderate his own temperature, and he doesn't need to breathe as often as other people.
And he teaches
Maybe he's ascended.
That's what got my attention. Not only so he's nobody special. He's not like, you know, somebody born this way. He learned how to do this for himself.
That's amazing.
Then, a university, I can't remember where, I think it was in Europe, they took him in and a bunch of his students, I think about 12 students. And they grabbed like 12 random people. So they did an actual scientific study. They introduced a virus, a very mild virus, to all of his students and to him, as well as the other people that they grabbed for this test. And none of his students got sick. He did not get sick. This is all in a university medical kind of center. So they were watching all the and everything. It was very controlled.
Yeah.
People got sick. So it was his training and the way they breathe and the way they it just boosts your immune system, and it makes you feel warm, and it makes you feel healthy. So there's something there.
Yeah.
And he's all over YouTube. So
this thing about like your body heating up and fevers and stuff like that, and wanting, as soon as someone hears fever, they think, oh, and I can't speak for everybody, but there's this conception that, you know, all right, we got to get this fever down. No, unless it's like dangerously high, you should let your body naturally do what it's supposed to do, because when it heats up, that's when it's killing things off, right? Viruses and stuff like that. So
exactly.
it makes sense that they would learn how to regulate their body temperature and stuff like that. And there is somebody that I've heard of, Drunvalo Melchizedek. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh yeah.
He was trying to teach people exercises about how to, instead of breathe like through your diaphragm and through your mouth, actually breathing out the top of your head. Isn't that
Hmm.
amazing? And that's
And
like part of like ascension and stuff. Oh, that's just wild.
yeah, and you can breathe through your heart as well. You
Oh,
feel
that's amazing.
prana going through your heart. Yeah, it's very,
Yeah,
very.
very cool.
Mhm.
So do you work with crystals? If so, what is your favorites
Oh,
or
I
favorite?
do crystals. I got this. It's a Tibetan crystal.
Ooh,
Little thing.
wowza, look at that.
Yeah. What I do, if I go into a shop and there are crystals there, I'll hold it in my left hand and just feel it. And a lot of times you'll feel it go up your arm. And that's what this did to me.
Mm,
I'll tell you a story about this. So I was living in Cedar Rapids in an apartment, and I was having some issues, some paranormal issues, and I knew there was this portal in the closet, so things would come and go through the closet, right? And I was sitting on the edge of my bed, and I had three cats at the time. Two were over here staring at the middle of the bed, looking kind of anxious. And then my other cat came from the other end of the bed, jumped up, and was trotting up, like he does, right to the middle. And he stopped and he slowly backed up.
oh my gosh.
Crap, what's going on?
No,
So
no.
I grabbed this guy and put it in the middle of the bed, and they were all fine. They all relaxed. They were all just relaxed and everything. And the other cat walked in the middle of the bed like there was nothing there because there wasn't anymore. So,
Wow.
wow, yeah. So I keep this around, definitely. But I've also gotten into shungite. And so I wrapped this after
Very
taking the
nice.
pendulum to find out what direction the flow of energy was. So it could be flowing this way or it could be flowing this way. So you need to use
Oh,
your pendulum to find out what direction it's flowing in, and then you can wrap it in that direction. So you're not interrupting it, but you're enhancing it. And this is jewelry,
wow.
and jewelry wire has a coating on it to protect it from tarnish and all that.
Mhm.
It creates an orgone kind of field. So if you use it with shungite, it enhances the field. And shungite is just has science behind it too. But
Mhm.
I ran into on YouTube. Yeah, beautiful.
I was just looking at some shungite today on Etsy. It's very affordable. It's
Yeah,
like
it
really inexpensive and you can get tons of it. I mean, I
is.
seen one that had 5 of these and it had um like 5 of the little discs that you can put on your phones and
Mhm.
then 5 of the little things that you can use in just like little sheets that you can put in various places like for gridding, to get like your radio waves and stuff like that or magnetic waves away. And the whole thing was like $30 for all that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
on Etsy. Yeah, it's really affordable.
So I ran
So,
across somebody called, her name is Nancy Hopkins. I don't know if you've heard of her. She
mm-mm.
was in the military, she was an officer, and she specialized in electronic warfare. So
Oh,
when they suspected an American embassy was bugged, they called her, and they found that they suspected that the Russians had put a bug in there, and she told them what to look for. She told them to look for microwaves because microwaves, 5G we've got is microwave. It penetrates through the walls, so you can send a signal much better than what we were using before. Now 5G can go through your wall, penetrate much better than before because it's microwave. But she said it's dangerous because it can cause cancer. And I'm listening to her because she's an expert in the field of, electronic
Mhm.
warfare and EMFs and all of that. So you can find her at cosmicreality.net, and she has a channel. She has a channel on YouTube as well. I think it's Cosmic Reality on YouTube, but they have all sorts of different shows on that channel, and one of them is her radio show, Shungite Radio Show. So you can find her videos. They put it up as a video, but it's just a picture, and you just hear them talking, and they talk about the science, some of the science behind Shungite and 5G and the bees. She said that they experimented and they ground up some shungite and put the powder on the edge of the bee house where the bees would come in and out, and they were eating it up. They were grabbing it and pulling it inside. Yeah, it was disappearing. They loved it, and the hive grew very healthy and grew more bees. So
Amazing.
there's a lot behind this shungite.
Huh. That's very cool. And you know what? I need to get some so that I can wrap it, because I do have some copper jewelry wire wrapping or wrapping wire. Yeah,
So
that's a
I've
great
taped
idea.
it. She says three nuggets is all you need. So I taped it on the water pipe in a kind of a spiral around the copper water pipe. And I have a Berkey filter, so I taped 3 of them on there. And then our router, I put a bunch, in there. And then back to Skip and his health issue. I bought some shungite, and I said, here, put this in your pocket. And he looked at me, and he knows to just say, okay, put it in his pocket. The next day,
Just
he
do
says,
it.
I don't know what the hell those rocks are, but my goodness, they work. So they were helping him.
Wow.
They were helping him. So it made a big difference.
Kind of makes you think anyone that's like suffering from like fibromyalgia or anything like that, if it doesn't have anything to do with like the microwaves that are going through.
And the
Doesn't it?
and the dirty electricity, and oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah.
All very, very interesting. And orgone, do you have any orgonite or orgone other than what you've created yourself?
Yes, a friend of mine, her name is Karen LaGrange. She made me this big, huge, it's under my bed, pyramid, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. But there's something else. Let's see if I can get it. She just sent these to me. And they're just different.
Let me minus myself down just for a second. Okay. I'm right here though still.
Okay. And then there's a little witch on the back side of it. So she made me those. And she made me this, which is an owl. And if you see behind it there's a spiral of copper wire and just stones and copper and metal. She's found a way to get the metal shavings, and the trick is to get the metal shavings that are clean, that don't have a bunch of oil and garbage on it. So, but she has her own business. She has what she makes is a dragon head out of orgone. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So her name is Karen LaGrange. LaGrange. And she's on Facebook, and she does have a website.
You know, all this is wonderful information. I would love it if, well, I'm not telling you what to do on your channel, but if you would do a video on this with all these links down below.
That's a great idea.
Unless you already have, and I didn't see it.
I haven't gotten to orgone except for the wand, so I might do a video on orgone. That's a great idea.
I think it's very much needed, seriously. Yeah. So sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt, but if I don't, I'll forget, and then it's all lost.
I know. I was like, what was I thinking?
That's me.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, do you have any special skills or hobbies that you would like to tell us about?
Well, I am in, I guess I'm going through menopause, and the stress level just shoots up with menopause because estrogen goes down. There's nothing really governing your cortisol anymore. So cortisol, no, I shouldn't say at all. It does govern it, but your cortisol my cortisol has gone up. So to help with the stress, I make jewelry. I've gotten into mixed media art, and I've this. The other one I have in the other room, but I made this out of. I made all the charms on it, and I sewed the signatures in, and I just,
Oh, that's wonderful.
and just playing around, and it reduces the stress big time. So, I mean, I'm just playing around and making
That's
jewelry.
beautiful.
So I made these, and I made this ring.
Nice.
And I feel like a kid again. I'm playing, and I think it's really healthy and helpful for me to do that. Although now I'm overloaded with craft supplies.
Yeah, one of the videos you had commented, you had me at crafts.
Yeah.
Yes. I think that's a lot of us, honestly. You start talking crafts and we're like, what is it again? Yeah, that's wonderful. And your wire wrapping skills are really good there.
You think so?
Ring. Yeah. I
I
used to teach wire wrapping.
and a few others. And I'm gonna do a giveaway because I got a bunch of these and I can't wear them all. But this aventurine.
Very nice.
I mean, it's cool. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Malachite. And what's interesting, I learned this from Matt's Crazy Art, how to do these rings. And he said if you make the ring and it's too big, just crimp it. I don't know if you can see it, but really, and it kind of makes it look neat.
Yeah.
It's a zigzag, and it tightens it up. So you can, if it's too big, you just tighten it up.
You can do that right with the little end of the plier. Just grab a hold of it and go like that. Yeah.
Exactly. So I do that, and of course, these are so easy, and they're so pretty agate and rose quartz, just really pretty. So I want to do a giveaway because I can't wear all these, So I'm making them for therapy to keep my sanity. Yeah. So
yes, it is very therapeutic.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I've seen your bead. I was looking at your beadwork. Holy cow, that's beautiful.
Thank you. I need to get back into it again. Not the bead stringing. That's just once you go like bead embroidery and bead weaving, it's just anything else. It just like kind of pales in comparison. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or it's just too boring for me. I mean, but I do want to do some malas, which is just your bead stringing, but I don't want to do just regular bead stringing on like a cord. I want to do it, well, not on like, I can't remember what the name of it is, like the stainless steel. I don't want to do it on that. I want to do it with like the silk thread and doing the knotting in between, like your actual malas. Yeah. So it's just a matter of getting to it.
Here's me with my mala. When I was initiated to Sri Swami Satchidananda. Yeah, and I got
that's very cool.
And a mantra. It was pretty interesting.
That's very cool.
really
I need to
kids
find. I need to get a mantra.
need to be taught that, seriously.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely want to. It's definitely very interesting. So, do you have a favorite artist or book by any chance?
Oh, I have lots of books that I love. So, let's see, I'll show you these. Artists, Beatrice Philpotts. Does that sound like she belongs in a Harry Potter movie?
Yes, I was just thinking that. The Fairyland Companion. Nice.
So, I mean, very
Wow,
nice.
look at that.
I love her work. And then of course Brian Froud, berries. And I just feel like he gets it, you know?
Yeah.
He gets it.
Wow, yeah.
Berries aren't just Tinkerbell. I mean,
Right.
maybe some of them, but these look kind of scary, like a little bit different, but
Mm-hmm.
these berries. And there's another artist. His name is Michael Parks. I'll see if I can. I pulled it up to get it so that I can show it. Yeah. And I have 3 of his lithographs in my room. So I gotta wait for it to come up. But it's one of
Brienne
his.
said that. Sorry, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Brienne was just saying that she got a mantra back in the 70s. Long time ago, she says. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Okay, it's coming up. Oh, it's not gonna show it very well. But it's here, you can see it. Gargoyles.
Oh, I love gargoyles.
Aren't they great?
They're very cool, and I love the whole concept behind them.
Yes. Oh, I gotta tell you a story. But his artwork, I have this one too, right here. Oops, never mind. Work with me, come on. But it's a window. It has a cat and a crystal ball and some.
Oh,
Just very cool. That's in my bedroom too. So I like that artist. But
very nice.
I lost my train of thought.
About gargoyles?
Gargoyles, yeah. I was at work.
You're as bad as me.
Remember the big monitors for computers, the big ones?
Mm-hmm.
And before they went to flat screen. And I had a gargoyle sitting on top of my monitor. And this guy is Irish Catholic. He's from Ireland. He walks in and he goes, "What is that?" And I says, "It's a gargoyle. You know what they're for, right? They're to scare away evil. You feel afraid?" He was like,
Sounds like it did its job, right?
Yeah, it did.
That's funny. So do you have a current TV series that you are enjoying?
I have a hard time with TV, regular TV. They're just a lot of the sitcoms are just boring. I don't know, I don't know. But I do love The Big Bang Theory, and I know it's ended and it's in syndicate now, so we watch it every day except for the weekends. Yeah, we still watch it. It still puts me in stitches. I love it. But I'm a science nerd and I'm a superhero nerd, and I totally get into what they're talking about, the science stuff. Some of it I can get. I actually understand. So I love it. I think it's pretty cool. So
Love The Big Bang Theory.
yeah, Big Bang. But as far as mainstream TV, that's about it.
Okay. What about, do you have a favorite witch movie or series?
Oh, that'd be Harry Potter for sure. I do like The Mists of Avalon. I have that movie, but I've got all the Harry Potter movies. I've seen them, I don't know, countless times. So I really got into that a lot.
Love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Is there, well, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Yes, please.
Both?
There's a story behind that too. I never liked coffee. Didn't like the smell, didn't like the taste. Even mocha, didn't like that. I've had friends make me the best cup of coffee, and it just tasted like hot water with ashes mixed in.
Oh,
Just did not taste good. And then menopause happened. So I started drinking coffee, and I found out that it's good for your thyroid.
mm,
So it's kind of a medicine. Also, one of the things I still battle with is low dopamine, due to menopause. And
yeah,
so low dopamine means it shows up as I don't want to do anything. I'm not motivated. I don't care. I hate being there. I really don't. So when I drink coffee, it's a boost of energy, but it's also a boost of dopamine where I get motivated. So, I can go to work and get my work done and come home and
yeah.
get done. And so it's more like medicine to me. But I do drink tea. I love tea. My favorite, I heard you talk about twinings. My favorite is
Mhm.
Earl Grey. I love Earl Grey. But you mentioned something about buttermint,
Yes,
right? So I
yes.
haven't heard of that, but I'm gonna look for it. What I do like, and I bought a case of it, is this stuff, and it's
Ooh,
seasonal.
candy cane lane.
Yeah,
Wow.
seasonal. So it was on sale at the end of the Christmas season. I grabbed a box and loved it. I ordered a case through Amazon. Um, um,
A case.
I did. But I think it has chicory, orange peel, green tea, as well as peppermint, blackberry leaves, and roasted carob, chicory, vanilla. It's got a lot of things
Okay,
in it.
I want some.
It's really good. I can send you a
Sounds really good.
carton.
No, you do not have to send me one.
I can
I'm sure I
share.
can find it. It
So
sounds really good.
I do like tea for ritual purposes. So it's like well, water liquid is so programmable, and then when you put herbs in the
Mhm.
water, that helps to program the water as well. And then you put your intention into the water, and then you consume it, and you meditate on it, and you really allow your all your cells to absorb the energy of your intention. I like that a lot.
Right on. Brienne asks, so Earl Grey, so she asks, do you read the leaves?
I have not done that,
I
but
am either.
yeah, I do have some loose leaf tea in the cupboard. I have a tea cupboard full of tea. So I might do that sometime. Or just break open the bag. I could do
Yeah,
that too. But no, I've not done that yet.
definitely.
But it sounds interesting.
Yeah, definitely. So, is there a time period other than now that you feel drawn to?
Yeah. Medieval Renaissance time. Just to visit. I don't want to live there.
Mm,
Yeah, definitely. Just a very interesting change. There's a lot of change, a lot of darkness that pushed everybody towards Renaissance. So to see that
mhm.
change, how everybody moved into the new direction, I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, that was probably another time of ascension, wouldn't you say?
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah, very cool. So, if you could have a deep conversation with any person or anyone during any time in history, who would it be and why?
Isaac Newton. The reason being is, of course, he's a scientist, but he was also an occultist, and he was
Oh,
into alchemy. Um, and the reason why I'm fascinated by him is because he had both science and occultism together, And today they're so separated. There
Yeah.
a lot of scientists are even afraid of even looking at anything paranormal, that they completely shut it down. There's no scientific data. We're not even going to look at it. Because I think they're scared of what could possibly come up, and then they're going to have to change their theories and their mindset and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown, that
Mm-hmm.
and blacklisted and lose their jobs. So why would you want to upset that apple cart? But I wanted to talk to him about the occult and how he saw in science the occult both working together.
Connection. Yeah.
That and alchemy. Alchemy, to me, from what I have read and what I feel, they were really truly trying to find a way to transform lead into gold, not because they wanted to be rich. I don't think that these were aristocrats. They had money. They didn't need money.
Right.
They weren't looking to get rich. They were looking to master the material world. And once you could do that, the next step is to transform your body back into a light body. And I
Yeah.
really, that's what they were looking for. That's what they were trying to discover and understand. There are old stories about how we came here as spirit to the earth, and we transformed into physical bodies and played. We had fun here, and then we went back into the spirit world and back to a light body, and we would come here to play and then leave. And we came and stayed longer and then left, stayed longer and left, stayed too long and forgot how to get back. So that's an old story that somebody told me that came from, I don't know, I can't remember now where it came from. But that reminds me of William Henry. He's another one of my favorite authors. He's a mythological researcher. He goes and researches the Egypt and the teachings from that have come down over the years. And let's see what else. He's also gone to the Capitol building. And if you look up, it looks like George Washington is ascending. Just the whole, he looks at the symbols and everything that are painted up in there. And he talks about transforming our bodies, our physical bodies, into a light body. So that's where I got that from. And I started thinking about, how did we get here? You know, how did we get here? And the story of Adam and Eve. So if you look at Adam and Eve and you look at the serpent as a teacher, okay, and Yahweh is not necessarily, I think he's got a bad rap. I have a feeling. I'm not sure. I think he was.
Yeah, he was the enslaver. Mm-hmm.
He was, well, if you anthropomorphize and say God said, to the people, you guys need to go in and conquer this land so we, the wealthy people, can come in and rule. That's God said to do it. You got to go do it. It's kind of convenient.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure who Yahweh is, the true Yahweh. But I don't think he's as bad as he's made out to be, but I do think he's very stoic, and I do believe the stories of Enki and Lil, where I can't remember which is which, but one of them said, you know what, let them all die, we're going to start over. And the other one
that
said,
was
no.
Enlil.
Okay.
And Enki, the brother, was the engineer who was also associated as the serpent, who wanted to save humanity.
Yes. So if we go back to the Garden of Eden, and we see the serpent as a teacher, teaching and enlightening Adam and Eve, saying it's your time to descend. So it wasn't a fall, it was a descension into the material world. And so when they ate the apple, that was a symbol of saying, yes, I agree. And then they were in the garden. So it's a little bit different view of that story, and it's just something I've thought of.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it like that. I see it, if anything, them eating from the tree of knowledge so that they weren't just slaves to God. And
Okay.
God didn't want them to have the knowledge that they could, uh, in my opinion, accumulate so that they could ascend and be like
Okay.
God.
Yes. So then they would and so the serpent was protecting them from being total slaves and allowing them to
Correct.
hang on to the ability to make it back to being deities. It could
Yeah.
be.
But it's
Could
just
be.
a matter of, who sees that story, because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Christians believe that Yahweh was God and the serpent was the devil. So it's all in how you look at it. But I've never understood, and that was one of the things that I had an issue with in Christianity. Why is giving people knowledge, why was that an issue?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why would that be a bad thing? Helping people to help themselves through knowledge and empowerment. That's why it just didn't sit right with me, or why women had to be made from, a man and
Yeah.
they were below men. Yeah. Okay, whatever.
Yeah. So
I'm not buying it.
why was Yahweh walking around in the garden looking for Adam and Eve? If he's God, he would know where they are, right? So
Yeah.
there are a lot of questions there, but William Henry makes brings that idea of, instead of falling, that they were descending into the material realm. And so the
got
Garden of Eden is like Shambhala. It's in another dimension, and it's
Okay.
still there. It's still there, but it's not physical. It's not here on the planet. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking in that term of, well, if they didn't fall, they descended. Then what about demons? A third of the angels fell. What if they agreed to go down with us and be our adversary? Because we are overachievers here. Anybody who wants to come here is an overachiever. They want to learn.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
really want to learn. So the third of the angels agreed to be demons in order to make things more difficult, in order for us to learn more lessons.
hmm Yeah.
I don't
I
know. Just
mean, it's just like Jesus had to have Judas in order for things to come to pass like they did, right?
right, right.
Yeah. It's like playing that part. Um, Brienne said, and Rachele, who would you be? I don't understand that question, sweetie. And then transcendental meditation helps you to find that light of enlightenment, Rachele, using a mantra.
Mm.
So I'm not sure what that's in regards to.
I came across a website where I guess everybody, depending on your birth date and when and where you were born, that you can figure out your mantra that's for you. I have a website that I can send that to you if you want.
Yeah,
So
that would be great. I would love that.
oh yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Have a good night, Glennis. Thank you for coming, honey. If you could be anybody in history. Oh, it's not if I could be anybody in history. It's if you could talk to anybody in history, who would it be
Mhm.
and why? And because I would only be myself. I would never want to be anybody else. But yeah, that would be who. And there's so many people. I would like to talk with Jesus Christ because I believe he was an ascended master.
Mhm.
Um, I would like to talk to any of the gods that have lived before. And I would like to talk to maybe one of the early pharaohs and find out what they really knew about, like Ra, okay, or uh, Thoth, or there's just too many, way too many. So, yeah.
I follow a archaeologist on YouTube. His name is Erith Herriger, and I can't remember if he's from Sweden or Denmark, but he talks about Odin. He said Odin was a real person, flesh and blood human being, and
Mm-hmm.
made me think of Jesus. Well, Jesus was flesh and blood, right? said he did extraordinary things. And I think if you look at a lot of these people, there's something that happens. Like the first Buddha, he left the palace after being sheltered for so many years and saw poverty and was struck by it. And so Odin actually pursued difficulties in order to help him grow spiritually. And so that's why he was given that level of God. He was made a god because he had gone through so much and trained himself and gotten to the level where he basically was controlling the material world. It kind of goes back to alchemy. But Jesus did
they are the epitome of the hanged man. All of them are the epitome of the hanged man.
Right.
Self-sacrifice for knowledge, for growth. Yeah. Definitely. Sorry, I'm just trying to, because it's already been like an hour and a half almost, so I'm trying to speed this up because we still got a few here. If you could go to any event in history, what would it be and why?
Oh, that would have to be when the Tuatha De Danann came to Ireland. I want to see what they were talking about when ships came out of the clouds and landed on. What was that all about? And their magical abilities, and just talk to them. How did you learn that? Where did that come from? Because there are stories where I can't remember if it was the Fomorians that left, and all it says is they went north, and that the goddess Danu felt for them and trained them to be gods, and then sent them back to Ireland, and they became the Tuatha De Danann. And then the whole going underground. What is that? How did that happen? And where are they now? And I don't know. Fascinating to see that event. Definitely.
Very cool. I love your answer there. That's awesome. So we touched briefly. You do have a website. And I do have the website down below.
Just a warning, it's kind of crappy, but at least it's something to get started.
Is this pretty new?
No, it's kind of been sitting there for a while. I'm a great procrastinator.
I wonder if that's part of the Libra. Because my sister's a Libra, and she's also a really good procrastinator. I mean, down to an art, she's so good at it. You know that you guys are artistic, so that's funny. So I did put it in chat, you guys. So go to her website, check it out. You have courses on here? Okay, wonderful.
And for right now, it's just information.
It's just what?
It's just information.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And you also have a Facebook page, which I'm going to bring that up too for you guys. Whoops, wrong one. And from there, you guys can follow the link to her actual group, her Facebook group, okay? There we go. And of course, let's get your channel up here and put that in chat too. Always remember, guys, I always keep all this in the description anyways, in case you're watching it back. But there is all of her information. Please go check it out. She's very new, not to watching, but to actually having a channel where she's putting out videos. So let's go and support her. Her channel or her content is wonderful. I love it. I watched a few of them today. I was like, oh yes. I'm just sitting there going, yep, as I'm watching them. It was wonderful. So please give her some support.
Thank you.
How long have you been on YouTube? Not necessarily just, making videos, but how long in general would you say?
Well, making videos is a little over a year. I've been on YouTube, I don't know, forever. I was using it for some classes. I was teaching classes at a metaphysical bookstore, and it was a different one than the one that got flooded. I was trying to get this new place that just opened up, and they had space in the back, but then the owner of the building decided he wanted to use that room to store his garbage, his stuff, and so
Okay.
it shrunk down to, you could only fit like 3 people in the other room. So I decided, hey guys, let's just do this over YouTube. Back then you could stream over YouTube. Now they don't want you to stream until you have 1,000 subscribers, unless you use your laptop. But anyway, so I did that. I finished up those classes over YouTube for those people, and it's all private, so you can't find them. But so I'm trying to figure out how to offer the course, because that is like the most mind-blowing course I have ever put together, I've ever experienced, because I went through it myself when I was training to be a spiritual life coach. So I went through it myself, and then the trainer changed, switched hats and said, okay, now I'm going to teach you how to help other people, and taught me how to be a life coach. So now I have to figure out how to put that over the internet. So the thing about this course is that it really requires that I be with you so that we stay on schedule. Because if you get all of the material and you watch one video here and then a month goes by, it's not going to work. And a lot of the material, your ego is going to distract you and say, no, it's really this over here. So it's very helpful to have somebody who's been through it to be able to identify, hey, this is your ego trying to tell you this story, and that's not the real truth. Let's dive down deeper and find out what's really going on here. And so it helps to have somebody there to say, this is the way we need to go, and to keep you on track. And then it usually takes about a month or so, and people make this big, like, aha moment, and they make a breakthrough, and then it's much easier to get through. Now, I recorded the first 3 classes to this course, and I put it on YouTube. It's it's all about how to handle the emotions that are going on right now. How do you process that? How do you deal with that? We're in the middle of a pandemic, and people are at each other's throats. There's a lot of anger and angst and anxiety. So I put that up. That's it's in a playlist. It's Shadow Work COVID-19 special. So you can go look at that. That's the first 3 classes of my course. And that's my whole idea of YouTube, is to have people get to know me. And, if you like me, you want to get involved in the course, you want to, take the courses, then, let's go for it from there. So it's just kind of, get to know me. Let's have a dialogue if you want, a conversation and interaction and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I put those 3 classes because, people are struggling right now. And those first 3 classes are very, very powerful for a lot of people.
So you're trying to figure out how to do like the one-on-one kind of thing over the internet?
Well, I can do it over the phone. And I'm thinking of using Facebook, a Facebook group, but not everybody uses Facebook. So what are my options?
StreamYard. We're on StreamYard, and it's free, and you can have up to 6 people on a live together. It does not have to be live. You never have to go live with it, like we were talking beforehand.
Okay.
So I don't know how big your classes would be.
Like we were talking beforehand, that was all private.
That was all private.
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, and it's called StreamYard.
Yes. Okay.
Another one is Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how expensive that is. I've never used it, but I know that you can have a whole lot of people at one time in a class.
Right.
I think that's actually what they're using for like some schools and stuff like that right now, is Zoom, I think. Okay. So maybe that's another one to check into. But have you ever heard of Udemy?
Oh, yes. Yes, I think so.
You could
Um,
probably also get your course on there.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
just ideas for you, you know.
Yeah. Thank you.
Um, oh, no problem, no problem at all. So, what is the direction that you envision for your channel going forward?
Well, I want to share a lot of content. I find that I end up down little rabbit holes, like, Garden of Eden, what happened there? Well, here's a thought, here's an idea, and to get feedback from people.
Yeah,
Like what the conversation we had. That
yeah,
helped me to be more open-minded and broad-minded. And also, like I said before, so people can get an idea of who I am and my teaching style. I may not be the right life coach for you, but at least find somebody. Shadow work is so important and so empowering. It is
yeah,
amazing how things, your subconscious beliefs get in the way all the time. You don't want to do something, but your behavior is being driven by something, and it's in your
yeah,
subconscious. You want to get that out of the way so that when you cast your spells, you do your rituals, you do your workings, that you're clear, that you're
yeah,
not being corrupted or interfered, your energy is not being interfered with.
yeah. I completely agree. And you know what? I don't even see that as a um like a rabbit hole, you know, just because I see it from that point of view. And I mean,
Well,
I
it's
also believe in different timelines and all that. So it's a
well,
matter of perception. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. I call it a rabbit hole because not very many people are talking about it. So it's just a thought exercise. And
Yeah,
I find myself doing that quite a bit.
that's definitely thought provoking. It gets
Hmm.
people talking, making them think a little bit, more than what they normally do, which is perfect. Last question. What do you wish to gain from your channel?
um, Feedback, interaction, people who are interested in shadow work, who want to be empowered, want to find ways to be empowered. I want to share that information, and to develop relationships with people who are serious about their path. I
Yeah,
would really like to have more feedback, because I think there are a lot of people these days who are afraid to give any kind of criticism. You know what I mean? I put out
hmm,
my Facebook, please take a look at my website and tell me what you think. Everybody was like, oh, it's great, it's great, it's great. One person said, you know what? Maybe if you made the picture a little bit smaller and put the menu right across the middle, and then when you scroll up, then you see all the classes and stuff like that. And that's wonderful. I want that. And I'm
yes, that's
always
helpful.
trying to get, and I know people are watching my videos, but very few are, responding. And I think that's just YouTube environment. But I would love to get
Yes,
feedback. Like, what do you think
yeah,
about
yeah.
it?
I think that's wonderful. So normally at this stage, what I do of the interview is ask you if it's all right if I open it up for other people to start asking a few questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. So does anybody have any questions for Dawn? Now would be the time. All right, honey. Have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your dinner. Hi, Jasmine. Hi, Vonda. Shadow work is like going to the underworld. You never know what you'll find in there. So true. It is so true.
Vonda. Just want to say hi to Vonda. She's one of my
For
students.
me, you know, a better part of my younger years, I didn't understand why I always had this need, weight. My weight. Part of the problem for me was that I always had this need to always, and I still do. It's always aching at me to finish my plate. Even when I was so full that I didn't want to, and my gut was just busting, I always had this need to finish my plate. And this is where the psychology of things comes in because my mom, when we were little, she would make us sit at the table and finish our plate. We were not allowed to get up away from the table until we had finished. And she was just trying to teach me a lesson because I would sit there and grab more than what I could eat. And then I would end up sitting there for a long time. And I always had this, want, always from the time I was really little. And she would do the same thing with my sister, and my sister would learn, but I wouldn't. So that's what created this thing for me to always have to finish my plate. She didn't know that it was going to do that. She was just trying to be the best mom that she could be. But you don't realize that little things like that, how they can affect the psychology of a person, you know? So, but that's a shadow. It wasn't until I got older that I would recognize that I really didn't want that. And you know what? I really didn't have to finish it if I didn't want to. But it took a lot for me to recognize that, you know? Yeah. So that's a shadow right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
going through a course or working with a life coach can speed things up dramatically. And so you can break free of all of that really quickly. And the reason why I got into self-mastery, the shadow work, is because I was under a psychic attack. And I did my same thing. I meditated. I saw him. I saw what he looked like. I went to a witchy friend. She said, yeah, it looks like a tall, thin man with a long, dark coat. And I said, that's him. And then I went to another friend and I said, what do you see? He said the same thing, long coat and dark and tall, skinny. And he was attacking me. There were weird things happening. It was obvious it wasn't me. So I realized though, and something I say a lot is I'm an energetic match to what is showing up in my life. So I need to pay attention. So where am I an energetic match? Well, I was struggling with this because I've been working on myself for years and getting somewhere, but very little steps, movement progress was very small. So once I was able to get a job, because he made me lose my job too. I'm blaming it all on him. I've been out of work for so long. And I knew it was him. He was interfering. So I was able to get a new job after like 4 months, I think it was, and never been out of work that long. And immediately I went searching for life coaches because I knew I needed help. There's no way I was going to get him off of me until I changed. And it worked. It worked. About a month in, my energy had changed so much. And I knew where he worked. He worked at a grocery store that I went to get groceries. And he would come right up into my energy field. And I'm like, holy crap, how did he find me? And he would do that. And I was working on myself a lot. And then I went into the grocery store and I just filled myself up with this good new energy that I had because I've been working on myself. And he came twice, coming into my energy twice. And I'm just laughing because he's trying to reconnect that energy that I keep breaking off. And he couldn't do it this time because my energy had changed so much. Yeah, I just want to share that with other people. I want to help them.
Yeah. A lot of times in my spells, I always say that the power of positivity protects me, and it does. Your thoughts and your actions determine a whole lot. And I should say, and your reactions, your actions and reactions.
Perceptions.
Yeah. Perceptions. Yeah.
Right.
Hi, Thomas. Hi, Leanne. Oh, I do that as well. It's like a completion that needs to happen. Exactly. It wasn't for the longest time, So if you had that habit, it's also about knowing, because it'll just happen. It's like the same thing as somebody driving, to work, that same path that they've driven so many times that they just completely are not in the now. They're not paying attention. They just get from ding to dong. And the whole time that they're getting there, they've got this going through. What do I got to do today? Oh yeah, I forgot. I got to do this today too. And they're not paying attention, to everything that's in there. Now, when I drive a place, I pay attention to the people that are on the street, and I pay attention to everything. I look at the sky and I look at the trees and what the weather looks like instead of just getting from ding to dong, It's
Right.
about being aware. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
did anybody have any questions? I'm doing great. And Leanne just got in here, and Leanne is like the queen of good questions. So I'm just giving her a second because it's like a 10 or 15-second delay.
Yeah, yeah.
This has been amazing, though. It's wonderful being able to connect with people on this format that it could be just one thing that they say that just spurs you in, like this discovery, this research that you do that just totally changes your life forever. So I absolutely love this format and being able to talk with people and getting to learn. I mean, it's like sitting across the table from a girlfriend,
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's very
It's a
relaxed.
wonderful thing. Yeah. All right. Well, it doesn't look like, unless I'm like running really, really behind, it doesn't look like anybody has any more questions. Oh, yeah. Okay. That Leanne's got some coming up, but I've got lag. So let me go to the other one. So she says, I would like to know, what is your favorite dish that you like to make or eat? Yes, I am the queen of questions. So what is your favorite dish that you like to make or eat?
I think my favorite is soup because it's so witchy. And I have found that when I bless everything, cleanse, clear, bless, and put it into the pot, that it tastes amazing. Then, if I just throw it together, it's just there. But I feel like
Yeah,
when I'm present and more conscious and I'm blessing things, that it changes the vibration, changes that energy. It makes it feel better, makes it taste better. So I would have to say soup, all sorts of different types of soups. And so, and that kind of brings to mind how a lot of people want spells for protection. And I would say, okay, yes, you need to protect yourself, but also change the vibration of your home, yourself, through blessing your food, bless
yeah,
your food, bless your tea, bless your water, bless everything. And that changes the vibration. It's
right
just a
on.
huge difference. It's like the house that I'm in right now was very noisy when I moved in. And I said, Skip, has it always been this noisy? He says, yeah, whatever. Knocking on the door, footsteps, I mean, all sorts of things. Very noisy. I'm like, okay, we got to stop this. So I did a blessing. I cleansed the house and I did a blessing, and it quieted down. And I realized after a day or two, they started coming back. So I blessed every day for at least a week. And then it finally calmed down and it stayed that way. So then it was every other week. And then now it's just on the full moon and it stays quiet. So it made a big difference to bless the house,
Yes.
putting up protection, which I do put up protection also, because the intention of protection, but the vibration changed. And we've got a lot of fairies here. Lots of
Causing havoc.
Well, yeah, they do. They stole our scissors. Cutco scissors, very expensive scissors, disappeared. And I know exactly where I
Mm-mm-mm.
dropped them on the ground. We were outside, disappeared. This before I started blessing the house, I was in the bathroom, had this big red plastic cap on the vanity, and I was doing something. I knocked it, and I saw it was going off the vanity. Well, I'll pick it up later. I went and did some other things. I turned back around. It's gone. And it was big.
Mm-mm-mm.
It's not like a tiny little thing that got lost in the carpet or the
Right.
rug. So oh well, what am I gonna do, right? And I don't know if it was like a week or two or a month later, I was getting something under the bed upstairs, under the bed. There it was. I don't know how it got there. There's no way, except for some sort of portal or some ghost moved it or something. But I don't
Wow.
feel humans here. It's all nature spirits. So you know, we can't have that. Yeah, do that outside. And they did. Scissors, dang it. And I've tried offerings and I've tried talking to them and said, look, we had to cut those trees or else the power company is going to come and cut them down to the ground. So we're just putting them back to keep them out of the power lines. And I think they stole them because we were pruning the trees.
Right.
So, okay. Yeah, stuff like that happens here. But
so Leanne says, any advice for up and coming YouTubers?
Advice? I have found, like you were saying, Rachele, to me, subscribing to other people's channels, putting a comment, those are huge, and getting attention from not only from the person's channel, but other people like me who are searching through the channel to see who else I can connect with. Putting up at least one video a week is been good for me. That if you can put up more, that's fine. I find that if you put up too many, it becomes overwhelming, and I can't keep up with some people. They're putting out a lot of videos, and I want to keep up, but I can't. I just don't have the time. But once a week at least is good, and the subject matter needs to be kind of in a theme. So if you're into photography, have a channel just for the photography. If you're into spellcasting, just have a channel for spellcasting. Don't mix the two, because then people are like, you know, this is just too all over the place. So that's what I would suggest.
Okay. And Albert, hi Albert, by the way, says, what about tossing a half onion onto a hot buttered pan? Yeah.
Ooh,
for like cooking and blessing and.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, even before I drink my water or drink my tea or whatever I put into my body, I always bless it beforehand.
Yeah, it's very
and
good.
I thank them all for their contribution to my good, healthy nutrition, is what I say.
Who were involved in bringing it to you. Yes.
Absolutely. And the sun and the moon and all those things that were also participants in the growing process. And like even my husband, who goes out and works every day so that I can have the things that we need money wise so that we can purchase the things. All those things go into my blessing, everything.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Very good.
And I do believe that water carries memory. So
Definitely.
if you're blessing that and then it's going into your body, you know, you're putting that into your body.
So I did a video on moon water, and I put in a little extra thing that I learned from Raymond Grace, the dowser. It's about the spirit of water. Use your pendulum as the spirit of water in this water. If not, you need to cleanse the water so that the spirit of water will come into it. And so that's an added bonus to your moon water, to make sure the spirit of water is actually in the water.
Very nice. And I love being able to layer stuff. The more things that you do in your magic, that's just more energy it's more power. It's a stronger connection.
Yes.
You know?
Leanne
says, what's that?
I said, feed your spells. Don't just do it once and leave it. It's like a prayer.
Yes.
Feeding it.
Yeah. Leanne also asks, I don't know if Rachele asked you this, but what element do you identify as the most?
Oh, air. Definitely. I'm an air sign. I'm an airhead.
An airhead. That's funny. Hi, Cindy. I just got done with my test tarot reading. Oh, awesome. And Albert says, like skipping a stone across water. I would strive one day to skip a half onion off of 7 strategically positioned hot pans with the final resting place of the onion within a buttery abyss. Well, all righty then.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Oh, you do the same thing, Trish, huh? Oh, gosh, I got an email I got to send you. Damn it. All right, I'm sorry. I do have to remember that. See, that's how my mind works. It's like scattered.
Yeah. Me too.
My favorite question was, what is the strangest thing that you currently own?
Strangest thing. I have a deer antler.
Nah, you got to do better than that.
Dragonfly in a box. I don't. That's a good question.
Yeah, that is really good.
I have my aunt's
I
teeth.
don't know.
That's weird.
You have your aunt's teeth?
Yes.
Okay, well, that might take the cake. Granted, you are a witch, right? So maybe not.
I have my cat's teeth too. I had a cat that had teeth pulled, and the vet let me have them.
There you go. See, I don't really find that as weird. I mean, maybe your aunt's teeth, yeah, maybe a little bit, but it depends. Are you using it for like ancestral work or?
Just to connect with her.
Okay, well, there you go.
Kind of ancestral work.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Cindy says, I put intentions into everything we cook and eat or drink. Absolutely. Water does hold memory. Yes, it does. And that's why I do weird spells. You do the best spells, Trish. Absolutely the best. Yeah, Jess, because I told you I was going to, well, it was Jessica also that talked to me about having you do the Witchy Wednesdays with us. Because we just love you, Trish. So I'm gonna be sending that email. I promise. I just forgot. Yes. Ant's teeth is the winner. Leanne says that Ant's teeth is the winner. I think maybe the weirdest thing I have in my is my raven's claw and probably the two baby snakes I found dried out, twisted together. Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I can't get over the ant's teeth. I'm sorry. Yeah. That I mean it made me think of some other stuff. I'm not even gonna say it. So but anyways. Thank you. I love you too. Yes, I am going to be sending you an email after this. Oh, you had your mom's false teeth? Okay, well, that takes the cake too, Trish. I mean, why would you? Never mind. All right, so does anybody else have any questions for Dawn? If not, we are going to say, thank you so much. That was wonderful. You are a very interesting lady. And everyone who just came in, you guys, be sure to go and check out Dawn's channel. She has, I think, just under 100 now subscribers, I think. So let's get her up there.
Yeah, I have 59 subscribers.
All right, let's get her up there. Let's show her some support. You guys keep them on display in a jar. That's what I was thinking. Like the babies, like people that do their research and they got the funny, yeah. Or The Bone Collector, that movie, The Bone Collector.
Yeah.
Dawn, thank you for the channel comments on my channel. Oh,
yeah.
Yes, I do. I will show them. Blessed be. I have them because they were hers. That makes sense to me. I get it. I really do. But of all things to keep from somebody, they're like their false teeth. That one is just a little bit, but to each their own, right? To each their own. Bag in my drawer. You can join Witchy Wisdom Wednesdays too. Yeah, if you're interested.
Okay.
Do you know what Witchy Wisdom Wednesdays is?
I've been watching some other videos, people talking about Witchy Wednesday. Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, I'll send you an email on that too. And if it's something that you're interested in, we have a group where we discuss it and yada yada. But this is not the time for that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right. What is that? I don't even know what that is, honey. What is that? Let me see. It might be your channel. Yes, it is. Thank you. Oh, you're up to 62 subscribers now.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Oops, I'm on the wrong channel. All right. So thank you so much, Dawn. This has been wonderful.
Oh, thank
And
you.
thank you. Oh, my pleasure. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday. And I'm sending you love and light.